Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I want to say few words on the recent the noise in Garissa County the last few days following the HR audit that was done. First of all, as a prelude, I want to say this. You cannot be a county that is largely a wage-paying county, and at the same time, you also want to be getting developments. The story of Garissa County is a unique story, and I want Kenyans to hear this. I took over a county where there were about close to 7,000 staff members earning salaries, both in the official IPPD, salary system, and also in something called Excel, where a lot of casuals, hundreds, if not thousands of casuals, were being put in there. The county was paying close to 450 million shillings a month. From the monthly exchequer amounts that we receive, basically our wage bill was slightly below 73%, which is way above the the legal requirement and the PFM of 35%. Therefore, with such a huge wage bill, it was apparent that Garissa County was extremely lagging behind in terms of providing essential services. And that's why we all know, Garissans know that very well, and many other people also know, that there were no drugs in our hospitals. Most of our health facilities, by and large, were on the verge of closing, if not already closed. There was no water in Garissa town. Gawasco was literally, on the verge of, on its deathbed. So, one thing that our people need to appreciate is that we cannot all expect to be employed in the country, in the county, or to be put in their payroll, and at the same time expect essential services to be provided. It can't work. The two can't go together. And that's why, through appropriate wisdom, it was said that the wage bill should not exceed 35%. So, based on that, we undertook a serious audit, HR audit, in the last 2 months, and actually we sought the help of the Director of Personnel Management to help us in doing that audit. I did not do it myself. I did not require my staff to do it. I rather sought professional help from the DPM. What the DPM audit brought to the fore is quite surprising, to say the least. For instance, we found over 180 people employed as directors, deputy directors, and assistant directors. Only 44 of them hold the appropriate requirements in terms of documentation, such as requirements for degrees. The other 136 persons, in the name of directors, deputy directors, and assistant directors, do not hold degrees, and that's a requirement in law. We found about close to 100 people employed as drivers, and we only have about, say, 11 or 12 or so vehicles on the streets or up and running. Much more interesting was the fact that we found 3,500 or close to 3,500 people employed, or rather not employed, but rather recorded to earn salaries, both in the IPPD and in Excel. 3,500 of them, or close to that, without having passed any due process regarding employment. Let me just remind ourselves very quickly what is required to employ somebody as far as the law of the country is concerned. One, there has to be a department that is supposed to make a request for somebody to be employed, you know, in a certain area or section of that department. And that request by the department can only come after there is an existing budget for that person to be employed. Then, of course, that request is sent to the Public Service Board or County Service Public Board, which then, you know, undertakes the appropriate interviews for all the candidates. That is after the board has made the necessary advertisement. That is, there cannot be just an employment without the appropriate advertisement being done. After the advertisement and after the interviews by the board, then there is supposed to be some short listing. After the short listing, of course, then the rightful candidate is picked to be appointed. Now, where you find 3,500 or close to that, with no any request by any department, with no any budget, with no any request to the board, with no any advert by the board, with no any short listing, and with no any appointment, no documents in the files, then, the only thing is to find them in the payroll, surely that is fraud. That is not employment. It is a completely abused payroll system, which therefore cannot be sustained. So, given those grim circumstances, what me and my system or my government is doing rather is we are not going to sack anybody because we are a law-abiding people. What we did is, again, in line with the recommendations of the DPM, we formed a professional committee and gazetted the same so that from this coming Monday, which is the 14th of November, the committee will be seated here in the head office. We want all persons, or any person who feels or who feels aggrieved, or who is aggrieved rather, and who have been called to attend, come and attend. Bring what you have. Come and show us that you have been appropriately, you know, employed. Come and show us that actually you have been regularly employed. Come with your documents. Come and show us how you entered the payroll. So that if indeed you have a genuine case, that you know you are there rightfully in the payroll, that you have passed through an interview, that you have passed through some short listing, that you have presented your documents at that time, then obviously we will look at the committee will look at your case, and if there's any genuine case, then of course you have no reason to worry. But the many who are making noise out there in the social media and running around the streets claiming that they have been unjustly sacked, we have not sacked anybody. We are asking you, as a responsible citizen, we are a responsible government. We are giving you an opportunity to come and present your case. Please come and present your case so that you know we can know how you entered the payroll. Lakini kama wewe umeingia payroll kutoka kwa dirishani, hauna haja kufanya kelele mengi. We don't need that. Number two, the other group of people who may have been affected by the recommendations of the audit are people who also were irregularly promoted. You will find, for instance, somebody who is in job group K was suddenly taken straight away to job group Q or R. That is not in the law of the country. That is not what, you know, the HR, employment system in the country emphasizes. You know, what we want is the people of this county to know that there are systems in this country. This is not a banana state. We are in Kenya, where we have employment structures in place, set by the government for civil servants. Now, you can't just suddenly be promoted from job group K to job Q or R and then make noise. Why was I brought back to my original job group? You will, of course, be returned back to where you belong to. But again, we are asking you, come and present your case. If indeed you are rightfully due for promotion, that is something for us to consider through the right process. Again, the right process is for that promotion to be advertised within the establishment, and then follow the due process. Those are the issues that really I wanted to say this afternoon, so that the many who are making noise in the country need to know that we're not just sacking people. We haven't sacked anybody. We know the law of the country. We have given show cause letters, so people can come to the committee and bring forward their grievances. Hiyo ndio ningependa kusema, ili watu wa Garissa wasipotezwe bure, na so that they should not unnecessarily be taken wrongly by the noise makers who have nothing to offer in the country. We say we give them 14 days. We give all those people who are complaining 14 days to present
20 days.
Their cases. The committee will sit there for 20 days so that they can also give us their report at the end of the exercise. Asanteni sana.
Maybe because ndio haya yote yafanyike, somebody must have slipped on his job, or kuna mtu ambaye alivunja sheria. Maybe after that, after the whole exercise is done and dusted, what next? Action.
Well, of course, those were simply illegal ways of bringing people into the payroll. Now, what will happen after that? After we harmonize the grades, the job grades, after we are done with the many grievances, then of course, really the rest is for the law to take its natural course. I'd like to comment now on what happens next. But let me tell you something. The exercises that we are doing to clean up the payroll system is not yet over. This is only phase 1. We have phase 2, which is coming. Phase 2 is the head count. We also want to call everybody back to the county to see who works for this county, because the stories we're hearing is very, very disturbing. We keep hearing of people in working outside the country, others, wanaendelea na makazi zao, wakiwa wafugaji, wengine tuwasikia, they are different kind of places, yet they are in salary from the county payroll. So that head count hopefully will also weed out a large number of ghost workers from the payroll. After we are left with whoever is going to remain, we will carry out also another further audit, i.e. document verification. Kwa sababu kuna wengine wengi pia, they do not have the rightful documents. Wengi wao wako na fake degrees. A lot of the directors who are now in the payroll are said to be having fake degrees. So again, that will be a further exercise so that we can indeed say then we have done a proper cleanup of our payroll or our HR system.
How long will it take?
That exercise, of course, will take a bit of time. I don't really know how long, but I can imagine it will take us all the way to January or February 2023. But we don't mind. In that meantime, we are not employing. We can't employ. We are already in a quagmire as far as our HR and the wage bill is concerned. So for the many who expected or who thought they will get an immediate employment in the county, it's unfortunate, given the circumstances, there will be a bit of waiting time to be done, until we are able to clear the situation. Asanteni sana, mbarikiwe.